This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
You're listening to the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring attorney, guest, and former felony prosecutor Eric FEDS.
Rex Heuerman, the alleged Long Island serial killer, he is back because, well, the FBI came back. Investigators came back, and they said, we want to take another trip to your basement dungeon because we just couldn't get enough of it the first time. Joining me to discuss, attorney Eric FEDS, former prosecutor. This is interesting that they went back a second time. Almost a year ago was when they did the initial investigation. Remember seeing that? All the creepy things being taken out of the house, dolls, 100-some guns, computers that we discovered were just filled with child pornography. Asa and the kids, they went back in the house. They lived the rest of the year out there. They're on vacation when the feds went back in just the other week. Why would they be going back all this time later, especially after, anything could have been tampered with at this point?
Totally. It tells me, Tony, that the government may have learned of new information, of new evidence that they believe could be in the house that they didn't secure before, perhaps that they weren't even aware of. They have these devices. I'm sure they did downloads of those things. And I imagine they learned about some new investigative avenues that they're presently pursuing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting because they have so many devices of his that they're combing through with the data. What can they find in here? Because if this is the Long Island serial killer, we're talking, decades worth of material that have to be sifted through. And there's only so many investigators to a case. So that can take a little bit of time. What sort of things might they be finding? What might they be looking for now that they wouldn't have already captured in the past?
Sometimes I'm just speculating because I haven't seen what is on those devices, but hypothetically, perhaps they found something, some journal, some electronic digital diary or something that recounted past events, perhaps inside the home. And then, it would make sense for law enforcement to then go back to the home and say, oh yeah, the layout of this room is exactly consistent with these prior events that we're just learning about. That's just one example of why they might go back there. Perhaps there are things inside the walls, underneath the ground. You just don't know.
Another thing that I was thinking when I was hearing about them going back in, the accounts of maybe some of the people who got away, maybe some of the people who were at the sex parties, things of that nature, because we have heard a lot of allegations about connections possibly with James Burke, the former Suffolk County Police Department chief, who, ended up leaving in disgrace. John Ray, the attorney for some of the victims, saying that he has a woman who claimed that both Burke and Heuerman attended the parties together, which we were all a little bit suspicious of for quite a while. But if that is true, that explains a lot as to why this wasn't investigated. But more so back to the main point, somebody recounting, oh yeah, the sex party was here. You get on the hall, the bathroom's over there, so-and-so was there. That information alone, just like the layout of a house or a lamp or something that's specific to that home, that can put a lot more validity to someone's sex party story, can it not?
Exactly. It corroborates the details of these victims' accounts. If they can prove that there is like a weird lamp with a green shade or something in the room where it happened, and lo and behold, the FBI goes there and there's that lamp there, that is proving consistency between the objective reality in the crime scene and these victims' versions of what happened.
Should Asa Elrup be concerned that they went back in her house that she's been living in with the kids for all this time? Again, obviously no charges ever against Asa. Big question as to what she knows. Recently, she made a statement of, he isn't capable of doing that, which I found that interesting.
He's like the most capable guy.
Very capable of doing it. Like, are you just like someone who degrades your creepy husband all the time, which that's kind of what it sounded like? Or do you, I don't know. It does make me wonder what the involvement is there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, anytime the FBI is showing up at someone's door, there's cause for concern, especially if they're coming back.
Yeah.
And so I think, I mean, surely she is lawyered up, but yeah, it's definitely concerning. And really the question is going to be what she knew, what aid she supplied, if any, to Rex Heuerman, what her involvement was in this, decades-long serial killing spree, according to the government.
And people need to understand, just because they had the warrant last year doesn't mean they can just come knocking anytime they want. Like, oops, we forgot something. They have to, this is a federal warrant too. So like you have to go back to the judge. You have to go get that approved. And you need good probable cause to do that. They don't necessarily like saying, oh yeah, you missed something, go back. So judging by that alone, this must have some weight to it.
A federal judge must have thought so because the federal judge granted the warrant. Yeah. And so what that means, the federal judge found probable cause for the FBI to go back in there a year after. It is in all likelihood not the original probable cause that authorized the FBI to go in initially. It's got to be something new, and it's got to be something important to the case.
Do you think it has anything to do with the original Gilgo 4, or does it have something to do with the other possible victims that they've been investigating? I mean, there was a search recently at another location of another possible victim of his just a couple weeks prior. It makes me wonder, is this in relation to new possible victims here?
In Suffolk County and beyond, for decades, there have been women who have gone missing. Oftentimes they are sex workers. And a lot of people are wondering if there is some sort of connection between those victims and this alleged ongoing serial killer thing that Rex Heuerman was allegedly doing. Yeah. And so, is it related to new evidence they have about new potential victims? Could we see new charges based on this subsequent FBI search? I think there's a reasonable likelihood we could.
Yeah. Going to be interesting to see what they unearth out of the dungeon of Rex Heuerman.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.